Today, we will talk about a book that has been helping people become better at communicating and building relationships for more than 80 years. This is the famous work of Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Maybe you've already heard about it or even read about it, but if not, believe me, this is a real godsend for anyone who wants to learn how to communicate so that others do not just listen, but really appreciate communication with you. This book is not just a guide to communication, it teaches you how to build real human connections that help in your personal and professional life. And surprisingly, despite the fact that the book was written back in 1936, her advice is still relevant. They still help today in the world of social networks, messengers, and constant online interactions. But what makes her so special? Let's talk about the popularity of this book. Over 30 million copies have been sold worldwide, and it has been translated into many languages. Carnegie's success is explained by the fact that his advice is simple but effective. They help not only to make friends, but also to influence people in a way that is beneficial to both sides. Isn't this important in a world where communication plays such a huge role? If you want to find out how this book will help you improve your relationships with people and become more influential, stay with us. It will only get more interesting. The purpose of today's video is to talk about the 5 golden rules from Dale Carnegie's book that will change your life for the better. These rules will not just help you make new friends, they will teach you how to build strong, sincere relationships and become a real assistant in developing your leadership skills. And you know what? These are not some complicated strategies, but simple steps that everyone can master. Together, we will analyze each rule so that you can immediately apply them in your life and feel how easy and natural it is to establish communication with other people. And most importantly, these are rules that have not only been working for more than 80 years, but also continue to be relevant in the modern world. So if you want to become better at communication, learn how to inspire others, and become a real leader in any field, stay with us. Valuable tips are waiting for you ahead, which will radically change your relationship with others. So the first golden rule that Dale Carnegie highlights in his book is to be genuinely interested in other people. You've probably noticed that most people like to talk about themselves, their interests and hobbies. And this is completely normal. We all want to be heard and understood. That's why Carnegie advises, if you want to establish a relationship with someone, create an opportunity for the person to talk about themselves. How does it work? Let's look at a simple example. Imagine Michael and Jennifer. Michael talks only about his business and hobbies all the time, but he never asks Jennifer what she is interested in. Every time Jennifer talks about her hobbies, Michael does not react in any way, but only waits for the conversation to end as soon as possible in order to move on to his own topics. As a result, Jennifer begins to feel unimportant and they move away from each other. Now imagine that Michael asks Jennifer questions about her hobbies, her dreams, and sincerely listens to her stories. What do you think would have happened? Right. Jennifer would feel important and their relationship would become much closer. This works not only in personal relationships, but also in professional life. When you are genuinely interested in people, they begin to reach out to you, feel respect, and support from your side. If you want to win the respect and love of people, start with a simple one. Be sincerely interested in them. Listen, ask questions, pay attention to what is important to the other person. This simple step will help you build a trusting relationship and improve your social circle. The next rule that Dale Carnegie suggests is always consider the interests of other people. After all, people are much more willing to do something if they understand what benefits they will receive. That's how we all work. It's important for us to know that we're not just wasting time, but getting something in return. A simple example is YouTube. Imagine that you are asking your viewers to subscribe to your channel, but you are doing this only in order to gain 1,000 subscribers and reach a new level. It doesn't work well because people don't see the benefits for themselves. Why would they sign up if they don't understand what they're getting? Now imagine saying something else. Subscribe so you don't miss out on useful tips on how to improve your life. It's a completely different matter, isn't it? You show viewers that subscribing will bring them concrete benefits, useful information, valuable tips that will help solve their problems. When a person sees a benefit for himself, it is much easier for him to make a decision and start acting. Carnegie gives a very good example about this. He says if we go fishing, we hook a worm on the hook because we know that the fish likes worms and it will eat them. But if we hook your favorite cake, then the fish just won't get on the hook and we won't be able to catch it. If you want people to support you and meet you halfway, it is important not only to think about your interests, but also to show how they can benefit from working with you. Learn to see things from other people's point of view, and you will see how much easier it will become to build mutual understanding and cooperation. The third rule of Carnegie is to emphasize people's positive qualities. Each of us has a need to feel important, valuable, and needed. When we recognize this in others, they begin to treat us with more warmth and a desire to help. Let's imagine the situation. You want your friend to teach you how to play the guitar, but if you just say, "Teach me how to play the guitar," without paying attention to his skills or time, most likely he will refuse. After all, a person may think that you don't appreciate his efforts. Now another option. Imagine that you go up to him and say, "You are such a talented musician, and I always admire your playing. It would be great to learn from you. I understand that you don't have much time, but if you find an opportunity, I will be very grateful." In which case, do you think a person is more likely to agree to help? Of course, in the second one, because you recognized his talent and showed respect for his time. When we emphasize the importance of others, their skills, talents, and efforts, it motivates people to be closer to us and more willing to help. After all, we all want to feel appreciated. Dale Carnegie's fourth rule is don't criticize. Why? Because criticism forces people to defend themselves, and this destroys relationships. When someone feels attacked, they automatically close down and stop listening to you. Let's look at an example. Imagine that your child brings bad grades from school. If you immediately start blaming him, "Why are you not studying well? You're lazy all the time." This will cause negative emotions in the child. He may shut down, get offended, or even start defending himself by blaming others. Now imagine a different approach. Instead of criticizing, you share your experience. "I remember when I was your age, I also sometimes made mistakes and got bad grades. This is normal. Everyone makes mistakes. But I found a way to fix them, and I did it. Let's try to deal with this together." This method evokes empathy, not resistance. The child feels that you understand him, and it will be easier for him to open his feelings to you. Criticism only destroys relationships, forcing people to defend themselves. Instead, show understanding and empathy. When you show that you were in their shoes too, and that mistakes are normal, you strengthen relationships and help people open up to change. The fifth, and one of the most powerful rules of Dale Carnegie, is the ability to admit your mistakes. When you admit that you made a mistake, you don't get weaker. On the contrary, it makes you more human, commands respect and trust. People appreciate those who are able to honestly say, "Yes, I was wrong. I had a restaurant, and one day, one of my cashiers made a mistake, punching €300 at the checkout instead of 30. As a result of this mistake, we had to pay a tax that turned out to be 10 times more than necessary. The situation was completely unbearable. When I found out about this, I got very angry and decided to find out all the details with the cashier. Instead of making excuses and looking for the culprits, the cashier immediately admitted his mistake and said, "Sorry, I made a mistake. It's my fault, and I'll try to make sure it doesn't happen again." What do you think happened? The boss has changed his attitude to the situation. He appreciated the honesty of the cashier and respect for his business. And now, imagine that the cashier would start making excuses. "It's not my fault. There's such a system here." The boss would feel negative because the cashier did not take responsibility for himself. As a result, the situation would only get worse. When you admit your mistakes, it causes people to respect and understand. Excuses and evasion of responsibility only increase the conflict. Therefore, do not be afraid to admit your mistakes. This will help you build trusting and warm relationships with others. Today we discussed 5 golden rules from Dale Carnegie's book that will help you build successful and strong relationships with others. These simple but powerful rules will help you establish communication, become more influential, and build sincere relationships in both your personal and professional life. Apply them every day, and you will see how it will change your communication with others. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If this video turned out to be useful for you and you learned something new, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Your likes are very important. They help promote the video and make it available to more people. Feel free to share this video on your social networks to benefit others as well. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and supporting our channel. Your attention and interest inspire us to make more useful content. Stay with us. There are a lot of interesting things ahead of you. See you soon.